I'll just giving you a quick rundown on the Cartesian plane, or the number plane we call it. My name's John Rainbow, and we'll go through this and just give you a quick run through of how we read coordinates off a two-dimensional plane. So first thing you want to know is normally you have a few axes, a couple of axes on here, and we can use it to represent different numbers. We call this axis running along here the x-axis. So this is my x direction, and this one we call the y-axis, this one here. Now, when we're giving coordinates, just say, for example, I want to know a point here. We use it to map out points, a bit like the game Battleships, where you sort of sink ships if you've ever done that, or you want to read off a map or something like that. Like, well, if I want to know where this point here is, what that point there is, I need to be able to communicate that and be able to tell other people what that point is. So we all need to be on the same page to understand what that is. So obviously, if you think about the alphabet, X comes before Y. Therefore, we're going to give the X coordinate first. So we're always going to give this number first, which is 4. And then I say 2 because it's 2 on the Y. So how I'm going to label that point would actually be in the brackets and be 4, 2, referring to 4 in the X direction, or 4 from the starting point. And the starting point is here, which is right in the middle. And this starting point is obviously at 0 on the X and 0 on the Y. We call that our origin. So you start at your origin, and we're going 4 to the right, and we're going to go 2 up. We're going to go positive 4. So we've gone to the right because it's positive, negative. This way is positive in the Y, negative in the Y. So 4 across in X and 2 positive up. Similarly, if I had this point here, again, this is still moving 4 from the origin. However, we've gone down negative 2 in the Y. So really, one other way you could look at it is how far do we move left or right, right being positive from the origin, left being negative, and how far do we move up or down, positive being up, down being negative. So we're going to go across 4 to right, down by negative 2. Or sorry, I shouldn't say down by negative 2, down by 2, because that's negative 2. Negative 2 meaning down. Because really you could say, well, we've gone up negative 2. If I said up negative 2, isn't that really like going down? So that's why we say actually negative 2. We don't say, I should really say up negative 2, but down by 2 is what I could say as well there. So that's really how we do that. So let's just check your understanding here. Maybe have a think about what point this one here would be. Have a pause of the video, have a think what it would be. Hopefully, if you've got that right, you would recognize that the first thing we need to label is how far we are on the X, which is 2. And we've gone up 4. What about this point here? Negative 2, 4. What about this point here? Negative 2, 2. Negative 2 on the X, 2 on the Y. We've gone up 2. And how about this point right here? Negative 2, negative 2. Now you can have the same number. If you have the same number, it's going to be on the same point. If you find the same number, will lie all on these points here. This point here is going to be negative 3, negative 3. Now, sometimes I might be asked a question where I say, hey, point B, label point B on the map, and they might tell you point B is 5, negative 3. And now we need to label that. Well, 5 would be where? 1, 2, 4, 6. Now we've got to look at our scale here and be a bit careful. This isn't going to be 5. 5 is going to be halfway between 4 and 5. So 5 would actually be here. Obviously, these little increments are going up by half. So it'd be 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5, 6. So you always got to check out your scale to make sure you're right. So 5 will be there, and negative 3, typical, right where I've put my other marking, would be there. Let's just change this maybe to negative 4, just so I can get my point in there. So 5, negative 4. I'm just going to put my point there just so it's not in the way. And then I'll mark that with a B. Okay, I still can put the coordinates on there as well. Probably doesn't hurt to do that. B, but I've written, and stuffed up there. So I've just written, the letter B still, just to do that. And I'm going to write the coordinates anyway. 5, negative 4. Keep on clicking my pen. Sorry about that. Negative 4. There we go. Okay, so that's how we get the coordinate planes. So the first thing, one thing you want to also know, we do call these quadrants. This is called the first quadrant. We move anti-clockwise, second quadrant, third quadrant, and fourth quadrant. Probably don't really need to know that too much. I mean, it does help. Really, some of the main important things to take away from here is this is the origin around here. The origin is 0, 0. It's right here. We call that the origin. It's right where we start. And then when we list our numbers, we always list the x first. And this is our x-axis going left or right. And our y-axis is going up and down. So our coordinates is always listing our x-coordinate first, followed by our y-coordinate second. So if it's positive, you're moving to the right. If it's negative x, you're moving to the left. If it's positive on the y, you're moving up. If it's negative on the y, you're moving down. That's about it. Just be careful of scale. You got to be careful of that. Now, why do they use x and y? Why not like y and z? Bit of interesting information, I think, is there's actually a third dimension, which you may not realize, which actually goes in and out. And you can use this to graph 3D situations. So here, you'd give your coordinate point as 2, which would be 2 on the x, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the y, 2, 4, and then z coming out positive 5, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you came out 5, you've gone across 2 and up 4, as you can see. So really, I could say I've gone across 2, up 4 on the y, and then out 5. So z being positive this way and negative going that way. You don't need to know this. This is just a bit of extra information for you, just to extend you, like why is it x, y, if you ever wondered that. So it's actually, we do have x, y, and a z axis. We don't do this in high school, but I think it's really cool just to point out anyway. One other thing, just want to be knowful for, just to check on your understanding. Let's have a look at this one. If I asked you, what is this position right here? Tell me what coordinate is point A, and also what point B is, and also point C is. Just pause it there, have a go at those, see if you get that correct. Hopefully you had a go at these ones, and the one trick you need to look at is the scale. Now if you look at this, I've got to break this down. Is this a 1 or a half? Well, this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's good. So this scale should be the same. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. Excellent. Now, the x scale can be different to your y scale, but the x scale needs to be consistent in the positive direction and the y direction. Notice how I counted -1s. Each of these gaps mean a 1. Up here, though, if you notice, it's 2 and 0. So really, 1 would be here, right? So that would be actually 0.5 or a half, 1, 1.5, or 1.5, 2, 2.53, 3.54. This would be minus 0.5, minus 1, minus 1.5, minus 2. So you can see that this scale is all the same. So this coordinate A would actually be listing the x first for 1. If you didn't realize the scale, maybe stop there and have a go at figuring out B and C. B, if we move across, would be 9 and minus 2.5. Negative 2.5. I shouldn't say minus 2.5 because it's actually a negative number, negative 2.5. Because notice this is going to be -3, therefore that's going to be minus 2.5 between those. So this is just a number line really going upwards and down, and this is a number line going across and back. Don't forget, this is your x-axis, and this one is your y-axis. C, again, would then be -6 on the x. And as you note, I'm actually reading off the line. That's how I do it, -6. And down here would still be -2.5. So use a ruler. You always need a ruler, especially in this topic that we're going to do, which is linear equations. It's really important to do that, but make sure you can label your points and you know where they are, and that should be right on that one. Hope you had understood that. If you have any questions, feel free to just ask teacher. Bye for now.